It's 5:45 and it's time to practice. That's right, it's dark, and you're going to see that a lot. This is when I try and get my practice in. Why? Well, because I want to be excellent at this game. I want to be able to play at its highest level, and the reality is that, I still have life. I still have to work. I don't have, I'm not a professional. I don't have sponsors. And so I still have to work some to be able to pay for all this, to be able to take care of my family while I pursue this endeavor. And so that means that I have to do this at times, practice, when I'm not working. And it's hard to find some time. So, it's really learned that it's really about what do you really want. And, as much as I wanted to sleep, I knew that if I would just get up and go practice, I'd be able to find the time. And so learned that I do not need 8 hours or 9 hours or 7 hours, that I felt that I could probably do it on 6 hours of sleep. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been getting up at 5 o'clock every morning, and I get up, get dressed, get in the car, and get to the golf course. And it's actually pretty nice. I've learned that I can survive on 6 hours of sleep. I actually sleep a lot better. I always have a problem sleeping, so ended up being a good thing. But this allows me a few hours before work because I want to get better, and I really want to get better. And this is a great time for me to be able to get a couple of hours in before I go to work. It means a lot to me, and have to make those sacrifices if sleeping is a sacrifice, which I don't really consider sleeping much. It's not something I enjoy, just kind of do. And I realized that when I gave up my dream back in 1993, when my father died of a stroke, I kind of gave up on me and something that I had been wanting to do my entire life, to that point, my entire life. I was 25, but ever since I was 3 years old, and my dad had given me a plastic club and a plastic ball and said, go hit that ball, I'd been hitting that ball for, ever since then. And this year, with turning 50, that the reality of the window of what I'll be able to do physically, to be able to play at a high level meaning the tour, PGA Tour, is limited. And I don't believe in the number of 50 or whatever the limitation. It's about what you physically can do. I've always taken decent care of my body, but had gotten out of shape. And so I knew that if I wanted to have a shot at my dream, that I needed to make sacrifices. And that's what I'm doing. So if it means getting up at 5 o'clock and getting to the golf course before it's light out, then that's what it means. I've learned to really enjoy it. It's really quite peaceful, and there's a water fountain here not far away on the 18th hole in the water that's short of the green. So it's very soothing, and soon the mowers will come out and they'll start their regular work, and it's really quite enjoyable and a great way to start the day. So the question is, what exactly can you do practice-wise golf when it's dark out? Well, There's actually a lot of things you can do. You do not actually have to hit the golf ball to practice. A bit strange, I know. But the funny thing is that your mind doesn't know what you're doing when you practice it mentally. The difference between that and actually physically doing it. So what am I talking about? Well, a lot of us have things that we're working on in our swing, and too often we go to the driving range to get a feel for that change and try and make those changes while we try and hit that golf ball. And too often the result of what happens, where the ball goes, how it goes there, impacts whether or not we think we're doing what we're trying to do. You're trying to drive onto your left side instead of just turning out. And so then you slice the ball and you kind of go, well, that's not working. And the reality is you probably are driving on your left side, and that's really the goal of what you're doing. And so, but then you let the impact of the result, change what you're working on. And so that can be deceptive, right? If you're going to work on something within your golf swing, the goal is to see whether or not you can do that move or make that adjustment or change. Don't let the result of where the ball goes impact you. Now, after you've worked on it, yes, you're going to want that. So what does that mean here for practicing? Well, it means that you can work on your swing, the positions, or the swing at the full speed without actually hitting a golf ball. I know when I was first learning the golf swing at some of the golf schools that I went to, I remember some of the most frustrating stuff was that the coaches would have you work on things without hitting a golf ball. And after a while, especially when you're young, and back then I was just a kid, I was, between 10 and 14 when I was doing most of these schools, all you want to do is just hit the ball, right? But they knew that, you don't want the impact of where the ball goes change, what you're actually working on. So that's one of the things that you can do. The other thing you can do is that, we actually have, this here at the course. This is the cart barn where all the carts are stored, and they bring them out and get them lined up for everybody and get their clubs out and put them on. But the practice greens are actually right beside this, which means that there's some light on the practice area. There's some light on the greens and the short grass around them. So what I do is I have my aiming sticks, and I put them in the holes, because the flags actually aren't in there yet. They don't get out until after the green is cut, so that I can see the holes where they are for the longer ones. And I just work on short little chips. So there's lots of different short game shots that you need to be able to have, and one of them are the shorter shots. Mainly short ones, not flops or anything like that, but just kind of the basic one. Maybe play it back in your stance a little bit, firm hands, and kind of only have it fly a few yards and then let it run out. And so since the goal when you're practicing your short game is not so much the result, again, of where the ball ends up, but how you struck the ball. Did you hit it with the correct flight that you want? Did you hit it low? Did you hit it kind of average? Did you get it up in the air and soft? Did you clip it solidly? And most importantly, did you land on the spot that you wanted it to land on? Whether or not it checks properly or runs out properly, that's unimportant, because the goal, those are things that, the condition of the green can affect that. And just knowing how firm the greens are or how fast the greens are can affect where the ball ends up. So again, we don't worry about necessarily where the ball ends up. We just worry about whether or not did we hit the shot we wanted. Did we hit it the trajectory we wanted? Did we land on the spot that we wanted? So did we hit it the right direction, and did we hit it the right distance? And that allows you to take that practice and transfer it to any golf course, no matter what the conditions are, because you're working on hitting spots. And then when you get to the golf course, wherever you're going to play, all you have to do is kind of learn the speed of the greens and the firmness of the greens, and then that will allow you to adjust where that landing spot is for each shot. So this morning you can hit the shorter ones, and it won't be too long. I can kind of see that the dark sky is actually starting to get a little bit of light in it. I think we're still probably 45 minutes until, quote, sunup or sunrise is. But there'll be a lot of light here to be able to do more. And as it gets a little bit brighter, you can hit a little bit more different shots, a little bit longer. And once you can actually see the grass and the lie, so you can know how it will react. So